Oh God, it's live again.
Oh, we're live?
Oh, we're live.
Excellent.
Why wouldn't we be live?
I don't know. Technical difficulties.
There's that.
You never know.
Well,
right?
It's
Stuff happens.
That's funny. Why is that doing that now?
I'm not laughing.
Well, but it's going out of the.
Roscoe, you funny?
Roscoe thinks he's funny.
Roscoe's.
Uh-oh. I hope this didn't goose my audio. Hold on. Let's do this.
Not show 50.
There we go. Whoa, holy, what is it? It's show 51.
5-1.
Oh my, I've done it again.
That does sound really better though, that audio.
It does, right? There we go.
That's my jam right there.
It is.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be working out to this song, but you know what? Instead, what I have to do now? Launch chat.
Are you still calling 10? I don't think you do that.
No, I think it's over. I think those days are done. However, I do have to have chat up because that's just a good thing. But, you know, it's not up yet. But we do have this excellent music. I do, dude, the song's really good. So happy we changed. A little disappointed with Apple spatial audio, though. What's that?
There we go.
On the who?
Nothing. Fine.
We're good?
Prepared.
Hey!
Rectified. Straightened out.
Excellent.
Put on
Excellent.
the right path.
Sure.
Whatever you want to call it.
We'll let the music build. That's not what I wanted. I wanted my library. My library.
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 Alright, Roscoe Farr.
By the way, guys, we have outtakes on the intros on our sound check that we were just watching.
We were like, this is better than normal.
we might actually have to start dropping those on the channel. They're like 25 seconds long,
Just
but
randomly.
they're idiotic. They'll probably get us in a lot of trouble, but they might be
Drop
worth
at
it.
the end. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll see. All right, you ready to do this? I'm ready.
But the beat just dropped.
But I know. Pretty cool. I love that. Yeah, we gotta start it. Here we go.
Oh yeah,
You ready?
it is a little bit late.
It is. We're late.
It's
Ready
a
to go?
mistake.
There it is. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Not Your Average Show. Mike here. Corey in the studio.
Roscoe's
It
here. I don't know if
is
he's here.
June
Roscoe.
16th, 2021. Show 51, which we just edited on the fly. Hey, Corey, what's going on, bro?
Yo. What's
Yo.
going on? What? Another day.
Another
Some
day.
more rain in the area today, but hey, we're back to share some cool stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, there's some rumbles of thunder in the not too distant area, so we are you know, everything's actually protected
Thunder
here,
rumbles.
but it's always going to be interesting when you get thunderstorms in this area because they tend to be fairly violent. If people don't know, this is actually the lightning capital of the world.
Hey.
So that's one of the fun things that actually happens here by the Space Coast as well. So fun days.
Lots of.
We got so much to talk to you guys about today. We got Bitcoin in the news, especially, I don't know, it's an odd thing to fit into the whole Bitcoin conversation, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Then we have something that I didn't see pop up anywhere, and suddenly it just jumped up and bit us, the XTI aircraft.
Yes.
This is going to be their 600 TriFan, or the TriFan 600. It looks like it's going to be another entry into the marketplace, but with a twist, because these guys look like they're going more corporate jet VTOL kind of helicopter hybrids.
Yeah.
So,
Still going after helicopters, like a lot of people are, but yeah.
yeah, but I think we both have questions about how that is really
Yeah.
going to take place.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. And then lastly, this is a user submission by James Peckles actually submitted this one. This is Koenigsegg is actually using methanol, but from a strange source. And it's
Oh, yeah,
actually a
that's
renewable
cool.
energy source. We're going to kind of open discussion this one because it kind of breaks open the discussion about where naturally aspirated engines are going right now.
Yeah.
And how they're kind of assuming that something with combustion is going to die out and not be a competitor towards these new EVs. And let's face it, the Plaid is fast. Okay, Plaid's fast.
Plaid
but
is fast.
it doesn't mean that you can't get something to go faster. And if it's cleaner and faster, which there are those options, it might be worthy of an investment. But so we're going to talk about that. So what else is going on with you? Anything?
No.
No? Nothing?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, not really. I mean, just doing some stuff, fixing stuff around the house. I mean,
Yep.
you know, nothing really too much to say there. But you know, changing some light fixtures over to LEDs,
Ooh.
fixing some rewiring that was always screwed up in our house. Just general stuff like that. Nothing exciting, but cool.
Yeah,
You know, glad it's done. That kind of stuff.
so I have to admit, there's a little bit of a reason why we're late today, because as Corey came over into the studio,
Oh yeah, that too.
what ended up happening was got a pool pump, and it's actually a saltwater chlorinated pool, and we had to solder a circuit board back together because uh,
Done broke.
it done broke,
It done split.
and like the men we are, we fixed it.
Like,
So
hey, this is broke. We can fix it.
it is pretty cool. However, I do have to say something. I was really impressed because normally you
can
have to run
fix it.
extension cords and take everything all over the place. And I have a Jackery, which is a power cell, one of their bigger ones that you can carry around and plug things in. I put a 60-watt soldering iron in that thing, and it made my life a lot easier because we didn't have to cart
It is nice.
a lot of junk
Very
around,
nice.
and that was an
We've
easy,
used
quick
it on some of
repair.
our live shows over the coast before
Yes.
for rocket launches.
That actually
Sometimes
powers.
we run our lights,
Mhm.
our studio lights.
Yep.
Off of that stuff. Yeah, it works great.
It actually works really good. So there's that. All right. So without further ado, here to kick it off into the conversation of the Bitcoin universe and how Bitcoin is, well, it as the title says, it looks like Bitcoin is moving west. Here is Corey.
Hey, yeah.
Oh, hey, that's not you.
what's
That's
going
you.
on? Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Yeah, so yeah, the first one we're kicking off here is from CNBC. Found it. Basically, it's talking about how China's hate relationship with cryptocurrency. Basically, so a lot of cryptocurrency miners
Didn't know you
operate
were
out
gonna
of
say
China,
that.
and we'll get to Bitcoin and crypto. I'll explain a little bit more about that after, maybe talk a bit about the article here. But basically, the idea is that China does not like the idea that there's a lot of cryptocurrency being mined in China. Again, you think of a whole bunch of things. One of the obvious reasons China can't not really regulate Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency blockchain that is Bitcoin. And again, I know I said a few words there. Maybe not everybody knows exactly what those are. We'll get into that in a moment, but I'll continue with this part here. So basically, the long and short of it is there is people in China use a whole bunch of computers for a lot of computing power to uh, discover and mine cryptocurrency. This one in this case, Bitcoin, and it takes up a lot of energy, and the government there cannot regulate it because it's a decentralized type of currency. We'll get to that too. And so basically, China's like, hey, we're done with this here. We're cracking down. They've done a lot of arrests, and they're just not happy with that. So long story short with that is the Bitcoin miners are trying to find other places to go. And they're looking everywhere from countries that are nearby China to the further west over here, including places like Texas, as it would be in this article here. So, and I don't know. I do know some Texans. I would be curious to find out if they are what they would say to this. Because we do know, if you know, we've spoke a little bit before recently about how people that mine Bitcoin and have bigger operations mining any type of cryptocurrency, it takes a lot of power to do.
Sure.
There's a lot of computing power involved, but there's also a decent amount of energy spent on just cooling the computers and everything else involved. So where I'm going with that is there's a decent energy demand, and we know Texas has had some issues with their energy.
A few.
Relatively recently,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, if a whole bunch of Bitcoin operations set up in Texas, which, you know, let's not beat around the bush either. When people mine Bitcoin, they don't always set it up as a legit business. They just set up a bunch of computers, start mining Bitcoin.
Because who needs to have a business
It's
when you can?
crypto, right? You're not exactly setting up a storefront and selling anything. So
No,
that's
absolutely not.
so anyway, yeah. What do you think, Mike? I mean, geez.
So here's my thing.
Not only just leaving China, but coming possibly. They're going everywhere, of course, but maybe come to the U.S. and
Well, look,
Texas.
you know, cryptocurrencies and especially Bitcoin and others that are out there right now, there's a couple other things that go caveat dovetail into the power consumption, which is a lack of video cards. Right now, you can't get good video cards because the cryptocurrency miners have been buying them up in droves. Now, the other thing is that now modern video cards, even compared to older 1 and 2 year old video cards, are fairly power hungry. And what I mean by power hungry, your average PC. Average gaming PC runs around 750 watts for a power supply.
Yeah.
Now, that's comparative to your stereo system at home. Okay, a 750 watt stereo system is considered almost I would say, a mid to almost professional grade stereo system, right? But on average, your average grade video card, which is going to do crypto mining, is going to use 350 watts of power. Now you multiply that by a rack server of about 10, which is these guys usually set up. They send 10 up in unison
or more, a lot more.
and that's a lot of power. Now, if you're talking about guys that are going out and doing serious cryptocurrency mining, and these are people that have hundreds of cards,
Yeah.
okay, the multiples go up, 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 and up. And there's 3 other things that are associated with that. Number one, anytime you put that type of power down in computing, you're going to create heat. So now you also have to worry about cooling.
Yep.
Okay. So whether you're talking about air cooling an entire space or what you want to do, you have to worry about a whole nother, and that is probably the second most power consumptive thing in your house, like your air conditioning, so on and so forth. Those are not units that generally, take less energy, they take more.
Yeah.
And the more you use it, the longer the period, the less it gets to rest, and the more energy you end up spending.
And believe me, they're gonna want to cool it, because if you're not really into how computers work, a quick along and short there too would be, if the hotter the computer gets, the more it might throttle itself. The program might, the physical device you're talking about might actually turn down its productivity, let's call it, so that it will not injure itself, right? And it'll keep working. So actually, by the Bitcoin farm, let's call it, being too hot or too warm, it actually will make less Bitcoin. So believe me, they're gonna want to keep it cool. So yeah, electricity just for cooling, as Mike's getting at, is not going to be.
No.
It's substantial.
It's substantial.
They want it to be cool. So
and if you follow guys like Linus Tech, and all these other guys that do major run-ups on gaming PCs to see how these things thermal throttle when they're running too hot, the efficiencies that are in place. But the real kicker is 20% of the power in Texas comes from wind, and it's considered that Texas has some of the cheapest energy available. However, as Corey alluded to, it doesn't discount the fact that they also went through massive shortages during a winter cycle in which everyone relied on heaters, in which heaters are also very, very, very power consumptive. So my thing here is, I still have a major concern about how the infrastructure is going to handle this adaptation of a rush to green EV technology, i.e., if we're looking at roughly, I think it was 75,000 Ford F-150s are now on pre-order for their electric version for the Lightning, right? If you look at suddenly, I'm going to predict that within this year, maybe we see 250,000 to 500,000 new EVs on the road, okay, from other manufacturers, other than all of a sudden about the 500,000 that are put on the road across the globe by Tesla, right? And for the United States to absorb that kind of things, those kinds of things into their infrastructure, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's one of those things that I don't see this being hey, let's just move it all to Texas, because Texas is, as you said, is welcoming it with open arms because they want to have a deregulated electricity system and a deregulated open market society, capable of luring away cryptocurrency. Fantastic. Is that the perfect storm, right? Do you get yourself in the situation where, is that going to really work out well for Texas? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just looking through this article, I know that I've got some experts on that they interviewed here, and it says one of the things, Texas is not only some of the cheapest electricity in the world, but some of the cheapest in the globe. So
yeah,
again, that's basically saying, if you've got, and this is not a small amount of money, but if you got 30 million, 40 million, you can be a premier miner in the U.S. And that sounds like a huge investment. Obviously, 30 million is a lot of money.
Yeah,
but the amount of money to be made in crypto is, well, it has a lot of potential. And actually, that was just the next thing I was going to really talk about. Just a second ago, what potential was the fact that cryptocurrency, and this dovetails into the next thing I was talking about. But go ahead, you got something else to add?
Okay, no, because I was going to say, when you say that,
before I go there, you got
when you said that, the law of diminishing returns came into my mind, because I see where the price has gone, and then you wonder, at what point do other people stop entering the marketplace at what value, right? Because obviously it's so competitive that you could be running a mining rig and you don't get the same share of Bitcoin that you used to get, say, 3-4 years ago, because there's so many entrants into the marketplace, right? So that comes to mind. But then the other part of it is, Texas is also, they are not foreign to high-tech ventures being in Texas. But I wouldn't know if I consider crypto mining, quote unquote, high tech, because it's just a bunch of video cards. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It just popped in my head.
what the next thing was kind of just a real quick, and this is going to be quite watered down, but just to give you a little bit of an idea, like what is crypto basically? And
hmm
crypto, again, this is something Mike and I have been kind of following, and some of our acquaintances from back in the day actually did some mining, and so we're kind of thinking about it too. But we're not. I haven't mined any, and actually I don't know, Mike. I don't actually own any. Do you actually own any crypto?
Mm-mm.
But anyway.
I mean, I have the skill set to put together a crypto rig and
Yeah, no,
like
that's
that,
not.
but
It's more for me getting the hardware, but anyway.
yeah.
But basically, so the thing that maybe keep in mind, but thinking about big picture here, cryptocurrency is not physical currency
Right.
in the sense that you take out your wallet and boom, you got a piece of crypto, or a dollar, or a peso, whatever it might be. It's not a physical thing. It's a software, and
Hmm.
it is a program that is designed in such a way that it might hear the term blockchain being run around too. And blockchain, again, is also another type of technology, another type of software. The idea is it's a decentralized program that doesn't. There's not really one. There's no bank that
hmm
owns it. There's not a company that owns it. It's a technology where um, the value of the type of blockchain that you're using, because it could be different blockchains. Again, they're just programs, right? They're different kind of crypto. You guys maybe know by now is Ethereum. There's Bitcoin, of course. There's Dogecoin. There's tons of different type of cryptos.
Yeah.
And going with that though is what I mentioned off the bat is not that there's a market in the sense that there's a physical like demand for something like a raw resource or something. Like
hmm
crypto is given its value by how people perceive how valuable it is.
Yes.
Right? I mean, we talked about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Again, another
Which
type
we're going to talk
of
about again, I think, next week too.
another type of let's say digital good you can purchase with cryptocurrency. But
Right.
again, in the same sense that, and I'll use this analogy just as a general thing, and I'm just saying it because it makes sense to me, right? Is that when I walk into somewhere that maybe sells like a piece of art, let's call it, or a piece of furniture or something, right? Somebody does apply a value to it, but I decide how valuable it is, in the sense that if I'm gonna purchase it or not. And then maybe if this is an auction, let's say, right? Somebody else decides, hey, actually, I think it's more valuable than you just said it is, so I'll say it's worth more there too. So, in a way, it's how valuable people think the crypto is
hmm
helps it go up and value. And so, when you may hear people say, I've invested in Bitcoin, or I invested in Dogecoin, or whatever it might be, the other currencies, when you also hear other people say, well, tomorrow it could be plummet price, you may lose all your
big risk.
money.
It's a big risk.
It's a very
It's a big risk.
volatile investment in the sense that it's hard to track, and it's a bit new, but it's hard to track because
Sure.
there's not like you can't say, oh, metals are good to invest because they're scarce, so I'm going to invest in metals.
Okay, so
Well,
we'll see, but now
that's a physical thing, right?
No, yeah, but look, I have to say this now because markets have always been markets, and we've always assigned
course.
value. Look, gold necessarily, if you found a planet full of gold, it would devalue the
Oh, of
gold.
course.
The gold reserves around the world.
Mhm.
So we've always assessed value to things that we find currently useful, which is strange about Bitcoin
or scarce.
or scarce, which I know where you're going with this
Yeah,
because
I wasn't.
it's so weird that Bitcoin really is it doesn't exist. So but yet we're still giving it value.
Yes,
So yeah,
and it is quite valuable. I mean,
Sure.
what is it today, dude? Is it like
39,000.
39
I think.
for one Bitcoin? Yeah,
I think so. Something like that.
Yeah, so they
Well, let me check that out.
the other thing that again, if you're not
$38,780.
38,000 US, $38,780 like right now.
Right now.
Um,
Ouch.
the other one of the negative things I've
Damn.
seen online and read about too is people that, again, so now let's say you invested in some, you have to get into the market somehow, right? Say you wanted to buy some Bitcoin. You would take actually in this case, I take my US dollars,
Mhm.
my real actual currency, and then if I wanted to just buy a Bitcoin instead of mining for one, I would go to an online dealer where I could do that, and then I would exchange my US dollars for Bitcoin.
I would
I would
never
buy
pay.
Bitcoin.
I would never right now pay $38,000
No.
for a
No, I'm
thing that I can't own.
And you can own fractions of a Bitcoin, right?
Mhm.
So while we just said one Bitcoin is $38,800,
Mhm.
you you don't go into, since it's not a physical dollar, right? You can go in and own like a fraction of a Bitcoin,
I was just thinking,
or
like, if I went in there with
fractions,
like,
you know.
if I
So,
went in there with 38 cents, I could own like 0.00001 of a Bitcoin.
but you'd have it.
I'd have it. I'd have it
You'd
though.
own some Bitcoin.
I'd have that Bitcoin. I'd have it.
Yeah.
It'd be mine.
The
I'm rich.
downfall
I'm a happy
of the
wife.
fact that the blockchain is decentralized and encrypted actually is the fact that actually when you own a Bitcoin, you need to keep it somewhere, and you keep it in a digital wallet, right? Just like
Mhm.
your regular wallet, but it's digital, and you can have it in your phone or something here, or
Lose
a
the
hard drive
digital
somewhere.
wallet, it's gone forever.
But that's exactly where I was going with that too. Like Mike said, is if you own that, and let's say it's on your hard drive, and you've encrypted your hard drive because you don't want people to get in there or whatever, and then maybe you lose your hard drive, you've literally lost whatever Bitcoin or crypto's on there, because
it's gone.
Because you can't go to the
See ya.
bank and say, you know, can I get my money out? Because the bank, there's no bank to go to. It's decentralized. It doesn't work like that. So that's a negative. That's certainly a negative.
So here's the thing. I
so
mean,
it is different. It is different.
Bitcoin.
If you guys got questions, put them in chat.
Of course.
Or in the video later, you know, put them in like specific questions. But anyway, yeah.
Anyhow, so I think the thing is that right now, if you're a person that's hedging on the edge of Bitcoin, right, and you're looking at the fact that there's going to be an influx of Bitcoin miners possibly in Texas, I would actually myself, I would probably go in and start buying wholesale not retail positions, but I would actually look for warehouse districts and so on and so forth. Smaller, like 3,000, 5,000 square foot buildings that could be subdivided to house these people with ample infrastructure for, say, like internet connections and power connections. Because right now, if you have that type of property, that might be something that you're going to see a surge in. And where might you see those surges? Well, places like Houston, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth area, even places as far out as Lubbock. It'd be real interesting. So I used to live in Texas for 3.5 years. Nice place. Yeah, I like Florida better. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we got to wrap up that conversation.
Yeah, it's real basic. So yeah, we'll move on.
We will move on, but we got more to talk about. Remember, like, subscribe, and follow, because we're going to go back to kind of one of the places that we like to talk about something.
Yes.
So I found this, and just to, report back into the world of air taxi, but more aviation. This one is kind of interesting because, according to the Rob Report, there's a new 7-passenger hybrid VTOL that has giant fans inside of its wings, and it raised my eyebrows just quite a bit. And this is called the XTI Turbofan 600. And it's a pretty looking aircraft. Okay? It actually looks like it has something here to turn around and maybe break itself into a slightly different marketplace than air taxi is looking right now, which is in executive transport and also in, say, like the very light jet category. Okay.
Yeah, it's got a whole bunch more range than.
Yeah, it's got more range.
We've looked at.
So right now they're saying that this thing has got a 1,380 mile range. Okay, it travels at 345 miles an hour, and it's got a 29,000 feet cruise altitude. And it looks pretty sexy, I'm not going to lie. It looks like a beautiful, beautiful aircraft. And we're going to delve into the design of it. And now what mostly is attractive about this one is the fact that it's currently going through its period of funding. Okay, so what's going through their mind right now is they turned around and they merged, it looks like, with another company. So it looks like XTI Aircraft and Xariant Aerospace. They held a joint press conference, and they're now looking at selling their $5.5 million aircraft. And they said that they're going to have a full-scale version up and running by 2024. Now, interestingly enough, April 2019, a 2/3 version of this aircraft actually did go up, and it did hover. And according to their website, they're looking at this as air mobility revolutionized. And I'm not so sure if we're in the revolution or just merely an evolution, because they're basically taking a version of what would be almost like the X-35, right? And they're putting a ducted fan in the actual fuselage. And I'm going to show you a breakdown of it right here. So this is what they're talking about, their breakthrough, that they actually have this TriFan design, all right? And look, by all intents and purposes, the practicality of this is that it looks like, on paper, that this is a viable solution, okay, towards the, reinvention of a marketplace that doesn't really exist yet, which would be killing the helicopter for executive travel, right? And this is from their website, the advanced technologies that they're saying that they've got historical challenges, and they've made this, different. Advanced flight controls. They've got 3 generators and they have a redundant system. They also have 3 6-foot diameter ducted fans pivoting for VTOL, and a closed body door fan for efficiency, which I do have a question about. They do have a 1,100 shaft horsepower engine, which sounds to me like it's a regular turbine, which is going to power some of this. And then they have the dual electric fan motors, 2 per fan at 250 kilowatts, and they provide 1.0 thrust factor. And they're going with a carbon fiber epoxy structure. Okay, which makes sense. And so for you, Corey, what I'm going to ask you is, I'm a little skeptical, first of all, myself, is that the stability on a tripod is generally not that great. And I just wonder how it's gonna transfer into stability in this type of design. Because that's my biggest concern right now is, could this be stable enough? And I don't know.
If you go back to the other picture where you show the stuff.
Yeah.
I do want to look at.
Now you gotta make me do work.
Brainstorming here, just thinking out loud, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I was thinking was looking where they're probably the center of mass.
Right.
It's probably forward of the aft turbofan, abducted fan.
Right.
Because where else would they put the power plant? Right.
You're right.
If you look at that, there's nowhere to put the power plant except right in between the wings, the wing roots.
Correct.
I don't know where else they put it. So they got 5 people seated in the cabin, which basically looks like it'll be a beam and forward of the wing ducted fans.
I know exactly where you're going.
Right. So if you're talking about stability, it's gonna rotate pretty well, I think, right around the root of the wing, because that's where a lot of the weight's gonna be. But I mean, I'm just thinking out loud there too. But something else I wanted to point out that I was just finding out as you were talking there was,
right.
I mean, I did want to point out they've been in development since 2012. This is a flying prototype, flying vehicle, so they are actually in flight testing. I also discovered their CEO, current CEO, is Robert LaBelle. He's coming from Augusta Westland.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So he's not new to the aviation space. So he's got some must have some experience in that as well. And of course, as we are looking at today, of course, they're securing some cash, which is certainly
always good.
Them. So I mean, but just like you mentioned in the opening of this, though, yeah, when they say they're going after some helicopter stuff, yeah, but with that range and that speed and that height, it's not. I'm wondering where. I mean, it does say. Also, I did see in here that the company did say they're happy to try and changing it into cargo.
Yeah, sure.
And EMS, which would make sense, of course. Especially with the VTOL capability, of course it would.
Right.
So yeah, I mean.
So here's the thing. On their website, right? They have this whole section where it says key facts, and obviously they're going directly after the helicopter because they're saying range. No, I actually haven't found it yet, but they're saying the range is 3 times helicopter range. Okay. Nautical miles, they're saying twice helicopter range, fly-by-wire, max cruise.
They're very much
into that. But right now, I don't see it. Says pilot plus 5 passengers. Time to max altitude is 11 minutes, which means I only anticipate this thing going vertical for about 1,000 feet before it transitions into some sort of normal flight regime, which would make more sense.
There's no thrust though, right? It's all thrust from the fans.
Right now, from what I'm understanding is, hold on, let's go back to this because they're saying the thrust. So propulsion, here's where it says, hybrid electric drive initially, 40% lower CO emissions, transitioning to all electric or hydrogen fuel cells.
Yeah, okay.
0 emissions. Okay, and they're projecting, this is what they're saying their range is. Okay, so they can get you from Manhattan.
Unless you want to fly 1,100 shaft horsepower to buy 3 fans.
By 3 fans.
And then I'm sure they have a way to reduce the torque to the aft fan once it closes in the forward flight. Right, so it's not obviously it's not turning anymore. They're then dividing the shaft horsepower purely across the ones in the wing.
All right, so they're saying here, and they never frequently ask questions, right? And they do say here that they have they flown a prototype, but.
Well, we saw they did.
I know. Here's the thing. They're a little short.
We have a link to that, actually.
We
Down
do.
below, guys, if you want to check that out, too.
They're a little short on answers as far as things that I would want to know. Just like you said, what's their gross weight? What can they actually carry? Their range sounds good to me, but when we go back into the discussion exactly of what you were talking about earlier, there's one other thing. If anybody knows how you load a jet in most cases, there tends to be a lot of aft loading. Like in an Embraer 145, all of our cargo was loaded in the aft to compensate for the main cabin, right? But I wonder how having a thrust vector from the middle part of the cabin, the way that these doors are going to operate, I wonder if you're having thrust from here, how really stable it's going to be, because these would have to almost, it seems like these would almost have to tilt forwards at that point to keep it kind of stable.
Didn't you say
Yeah.
the I don't
What did
remember
I
on
say?
another schematic, but maybe did
What?
you say that the fan in the body
Mm-hmm.
is electric powered, or it's powered by directly by a shaft?
I believe it's let's go back.
Because I'm finding here on another one of these older articles.
Mm-hmm.
This is from 2019, so it's a bit ago, of course. But
Right.
one of the guys there saying that 1,000 horsepower class, it's a Honeywell HTS 900 shaft turbo engine
Mm-hmm.
that powers 3 generators in hybrid electric propulsion.
So that makes
So that would mean that that would be better. Well, it looks like that nacelle, that one in the body, it does not. Well, maybe it does still.
no, it doesn't
It
look
looks
like the
like
one.
it's fixed.
It's fixed.
So it
and
could be a shaft driven. That would make that easier. But yeah, the ones in the wings are electric motors. It says right
well,
there.
right here it says that these are ducted fans, and it says dual electric motor. So oh no, okay. So I'm wondering if there's 2 per fan. Okay.
250 kilowatt.
So we're talking about 6 motors in total.
3 generators.
3 generators.
Drive the electric motors.
Look, there.
Oh, that's the generators. That's
Correct. So here's an advantage to their design. An advantage to their design is that if they're using electric motors, that basically this system will augment itself to the point where it can induce stability just by variable of the voltage and the spin of the motors,
sure.
which is easier than putting strain on a transmission and so on and so forth. And I'm sure it could do it fairly quickly. My biggest concern at this point would be, again, the forward loading of the cabin, because all that extra weight out front is going to have to be counterbalanced by something back here. And if you're putting lift in the back, okay, if you're putting enough lift in it, I just want to know how much stability and how much you can actually tilt the vehicle in, like, say, nose down attitude before it becomes partially unstable. That would be my thing.
Yeah, no, I see where you're going with that.
So if you push that nose down too far, you will never have enough thrust to bring that nose back up, and the lift portion of those wings is too far back. So.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I was curious about, honestly, too, about just straight takeoff.
Yeah.
Math. What are they saying? This is not payload, but just pure, like, what's the vehicle weigh?
Right.
I know you said it's carbon, right?
Right.
All carbon.
I can't see this having to be over 7,000 or 8,000 pounds. I mean, if you're over 7,000 or 8,000 pounds, I don't see how you get everything stuffed in this thing, because this front has to be super, super light at that point. And I'm speculating, so I don't know, but I'm just throwing that out there without seeing their vector diagrams and how they're creating layers. So,
like to look at the numbers.
We want to see more. So anyhow, if you
there you go.
Yeah. XTI aircraft, if you're out there, if there's somebody out there
keep track of,
you know something more than we do. Obviously it's got the pedigree, it's got, Gusta Westland name behind it, it's got, a proven power plant that's out there. So we'll see what they get, but it looks like they're joining the ranks of others. Different design, though, definitely different design, and going after a different market, where this one would be end-to-end travel, where you wouldn't be taking an air taxi, you would literally just be jumping on it and going, for a long duration trip. And then if you could land in some centralized city with a basic helicopter pad, I guess it's gonna fit wherever you could put an S-76 or an S-92, or
it is interesting.
Maybe
that,
a Bell 407. You could fit this thing.
They have it go that speed and that altitude cruise,
Mm-hmm.
but also the fact that they're really targeting helicopters in a lot of the figures.
So there's going to be one point that's going to be critical when you're descending out of 29,000 feet and you're designing your approach path into some place. By the time you get to 10,000 feet, you've got to know where you're landing. And unless you have an approach selected at these places, you're going to have to be able to bring this thing down to, to transition to a vertical.
Oh, that's another question.
And so you're going to be dropping this thing out. It's going to be a fun ride.
I was wondering also, another thing I was thinking was, this is, I'm way ahead of probably everything, but it's just thinking, what's an out of ground effect thing thinking on this. Again, that goes with how much is the weight. I don't know.
I don't know how much. If I knew how much you weighed, I could tell you out of ground effect.
I guess where I was going with that was, like you said, if you're talking to approach, whatever, and you're coming down and you want to land helipad, that may not be something they normally hear when you have somebody cruising out of 29.
Where are they going to put you?
But, well, that's what I'm going with.
Because you're going to
is
be on some sort of, you're going to
you
be
can slow down, sure, you're gonna have to obviously below 10.
right.
But then like, do you just is this gonna be where we go with custom made approaches, right? Custom made approaches to helipads.
Yep.
At airport, or not airports, but at medical hospitals, medical facilities, and you're just gonna come down off of come down off of flight levels to go land at a helipad. I mean, yeah.
What about
awesome? I mean,
one last challenge of coming out of 29,000 feet
yeah.
is that in the fall, winter, and spring months is icing. I wonder how this thing will deal with icing conditions, because when you come out of 29,000 feet, this airframe is going to be cold. And it's because once you get above 24,000 feet, just about any day of the week, every temperature is going to be negative, especially even in summer. So it'd be interesting to see how this airframe is going to handle that at that levels, because once you make those transitions, not easy on an airframe at all.
Weather. I hope we don't lose the stream.
Yeah, we're hearing the rumbles of thunder, but hey, like, subscribe, follow. Yep. Remember, hey, just hit us up if you have any questions on this one, or if you know anything more about it than we do. Let us know, because we'd be happy to see more information about it. You know us, we just pick this stuff out from the future. We like to see what's going on in these marketplaces. XTI, not knocking it. I think they have challenges in front of them, but we'll see if they can make it through the marketplace.
And we're to keep track.
Yes, we are.
We like the new fancy
shiny stuff. Yep.
So yeah.
All right. So with that, this last conversation is actually going to be more of a conversation, because Corey and I, actually, this was a user submit. So yep. James Peckles actually submitted this one, and we were like, oh, this is very curious, because I guess we have to start the conversation of, even though Tesla just had their Model Plaid S come out, and it's fast.
Still all electric.
All electric. There's a company out there that really doesn't care about that. And I'm just going to throw this one up on screen with us. That's the Koenigsegg alternative to gas and electric is metal as blank, but that's according to Jack Lapnick.
Yep.
And they're basically saying that the automaker hasn't really ruled out the fact that, well, they've already worked on a massive hybrid, massively fast supercar.
Very impressive design, yeah.
Impressive as hell. They've also decided that maybe they could get their energy from a different location, which would be from a renewable methanol, which would be from, they call it Volcanol. And yep. I think, Corey, you got a little bit more information on how they actually make this Volcanol happen.
Yeah, so basically what Mike's talking about is, Koenigsegg is interested in, and I will preface, obviously, also, that nowhere in this did the Koenigsegg mention they are trying to go all electric.
No, they didn't.
They like to, and there's some quotes here, but basically paraphrasing, they like to innovate. They like the fact that they have a bit less volume, right? They don't have to mass market all their cars to everybody around the world, so they have a little more technical leeway to do kind of what they want and experiment with stuff and do some really cool stuff, as you guys have seen with Koenigsegg's other designs. What it seems like they either want to, maybe they can electrify one car, make a hybrid power plant on another one, all petrol, all typical internal combustion on the next car. But going with what our kind of article talks about is they discovered a company out of Iceland. To bring it up, so it's called Carbon Recycling International, and Carbon Recycling International utilizes a way to capture gases coming out of volcanoes in Iceland, and go through some of their processes to convert that into methanol, and they're calling it Volcanol, but it's methanol basically. And let me bring it up here. If you're on that website too, oh, you are. Cool. That's exactly where I was going with it too.
Yep.
Yeah, it kind of walks you through the idea, and it's a process they're calling it ETL process. It's called emissions.
Not effective translational lift.
No, oh, okay. It's nothing to do with helicopters.
Okay, got it.
I never made any methanol by going through ETL, but there you go.
I wish.
I mean, yeah. It basically ETL, so it stands for emissions to liquids technology. And what they're saying there is they can apply to two main types of projects, and it basically to transform carbon dioxide emissions and hydrogen into methanol for fuels used in different things, but greener chemicals, obviously methanol to be mixed with maybe gasoline, something for internal combustion engines. You can do a few things with it, so it is pretty cool. And their efficiency, they're saying, you have that actually in front of you?
Where's their efficiency? Which one?
I had it here a second ago.
I have their services.
Well, they say they're
hold on.
The efficiency that they have of making ethanol out of the thing,
It's pretty. I know
It's very
super
efficient,
high.
but
It's
I'm
very
like,
efficient.
trying to find it here.
Is it the CO2 pathway? Which one was it? Or not the commercial plans? I knew they had on the Jalopnik card. It's highly efficient. I think that they're talking about the fact that I think that they only lose in their design, or excuse me, their claiming line that they are 80 to 90% efficient, and they only lose 10% is what I thought it was.
Yeah, about 90% of
Somewhere
it
in
can
somewhere
be
in there.
made with renewable processes that they themselves generate or something. Trying to find it though. I mean, the cool part was, I think for us, as we found obviously the Koenigsegg article, and that's super cool, was that basically Koenigsegg, and let me get he's got another quote on it too, but so here's a quote. I'll just quote it. And it's quote: "It's a very interesting way of creating an environmentally benign propulsion energy source." So there's this technology from Iceland. It was invented there, where they cap CO2 emittance from semi-active volcanoes, converting that into methanol. Take that methanol and you power the plants to do the conversion, of course, to get other fuels, then power the ship that transports those fuels to Europe or Asia, wherever you get it.
Right.
You get the fuel in a mostly completely CO2 neutral to the vehicle. And so they're saying, obviously, if they're using this in their cars, then effectively they're making these really fast, really amazing power plants, innovative, doing their own kind of power plants. And oh, by the way, they're also really clean.
Very clean.
And they go on to also mention that they do some other technology on the cars themselves, where the gases coming out of the car are not just straight out of the engine as well. They try to also make here just to make it make sense. So this is another quote here too. So quote: "We electrify in a different way with more extreme cell technology for power output, and then we have an extreme combustion energy technology running on renewable fuels," which we just spoke about, but very good aftermarket treatments or after treatment systems as well, and our free valve technology, where we can really make sure we combust extremely efficiently with very small engines to make the car lighter, more exciting, have better performance, and but still being environmentally benign. End quote. So again, yeah. So they're talking. Really, it's cool to see that. I mean, the output of these cars is amazing, which is good. That's cool.
I want to see it challenge the electric
um,
markets. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that kind of the dichotomy there, though?
Yep.
That if you could say, we got these really fast, really high accelerating, high torque number electric cars, of course, because it's electric. But then you have some really innovative players like Koenigsegg doing either hybrid power plants or pure internal combustion power plants that are innovative in their newer designs.
Right.
That also, by the way, are almost completely green.
But there's one big difference. You know what? That anything that makes combustion and uses an expandable gas and heat as its power source makes one last thing that I enjoy, and I don't know about anybody else. It makes noise. Okay, look.
Yes.
Every prop in the world to a Tesla, every prop in the world to a car that actually can go fast using electric power. Okay, what a lot of people don't remember is that Mercedes-Benz, when they actually had one of the very first vehicles, it was electric power and steam power that actually built upon everything else, and now we're kind of reverting back to that. However, it's the noise. Okay, it's the noise of the whole thing.
You just reminded me of something.
What'd I do?
I saw this just yesterday.
What is it?
The 2022 Porsche 911 GT3 cannot be sold in California in its manual gearbox configuration.
Because it doesn't meet emissions.
Because it is too loud.
Garbage. Hey, there's actually one other thing because
it is too loud.
It's too loud. On another note, the other day we actually spoke about the Apple car, and I just had to bring this up because it sparked another thought in my head, and that is when we talked about Canoe, I guess, which is the other where they actually got this other guy from in the EV market, and it's just their pickup. When we actually looked at the site later on, we were like, man, their pickup is hot.
It's kind of cool looking.
It's kind of,
you may hate it, but I kind of think it's kind of cool looking.
It's kind of cool looking, and I think that if this thing goes the way that
it say 2023.
2023, which there's also, I think there's another truck manufacturer that bought that huge GM plant that's basically saying they're probably on their last legs. But this thing is gorgeous.
It's pretty cool looking.
I thought it was pretty unique. With the fold down sides. But we're getting off topic. But I mean, hey, look, it's just to say that, look, the electric market is great, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's got anything against the electric market. And it's got the power, it's got the performance, doesn't have the noise. But, look, and the last part is filling up a tank is still a lot easier than sitting there for 15 to 20 minutes to, connect a car and let it charge up. So it's interesting to see that
It is different.
Koenigsegg would take this position of saying, well, we can do it, and that generally leads to a level of innovation that works well. Did you freeze up? Oh, Corey, Corey, it didn't.
It did.
Oh my! It's never done this before on this. Wow.
The curse of
The
the
curse of the-
camera.
The curse
strikes
of the ZV.
again.
Well, guess
YouTube.
what?
That's great timing, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
That's hysterical. I love it.
Show the last link. Get it? You get it, chat? You can see the last.
That is so funny.
link
This
I
camera,
have?
the ZV-1, has habitually decided when to pop up with battery issues, and today it decided to go into battery issue and not charge once it's on its own tethered system.
But
So-
that's my spiel, though. Before we
They
go,
can't see you.
I know, no.
You have
Before
to
they
poke
go,
your head out this
before
way.
they go,
Yeah.
down below, don't forget to check out the last link.
See, he's there, and the camera's over there in the tripod. You can see the leg of the tripod, and it usually, you know what? It might be time to rethink the ZV.
Mike, you gonna check out the last link for them?
Wait,
Since
Oh, I have to do that. Oh, I didn't know what you wanted.
Well, no. I mean, I was talking to them, but
Oh, okay. Hold on. Wait. I got a last link here.
the last.
The last link. Oh, this one. Hold on a second.
It's a minute 38. It's nothing.
It's. Hold on. Let's do this right. Let me do it right.
Skipping the advertisement.
It won't let me. The last link. Oh, that was the one that I was like, what is he talking about?
What is his deal?
Oh, I'm actually live streaming that one. That's great. That's awesome. Here we go. We'll just go full screen. We'll just go. See what we got here. Oh, Breath of the Wild. Interesting. We went all over the map today.
Oh yeah, we're everywhere.
We're everywhere. I can also tell that our stream is hampered by these thunderstorms. Whoa!
Volumes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. While it's a cool video, I have to tell everybody the only thing we really know is it's out in 2022. So the speculation between, me and a few other people keeping track, December 2022.
There you go.
Probably because it probably is. But there you go. So it's cool.
You're not even here anymore.
I know.
I can just
It's
discount
cool.
you.
Yeah, I'm just me. I'm just the
I
voice.
can just discount you.
I'm
and
the
be
voice
like,
speaking from beyond.
he is. All right. Well, look.
So yeah, there you go.
There you go. We have that. So, man, I can't believe this ZV1 did this to us. Hey, for
There you go.
Corey,
Yeah.
who's over there,
Hey!
who got kicked off and whatnot. Hey, there's a little hand. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys. Gonna try. There's rock launch tomorrow. Weather's supposed to be terrible.
Yeah.
So that might not happen. Just gonna have to check it out, see if it happens. But we will keep you guys updated on that. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see everybody really soon. And we will let Harris Heller walk us out of here.
Step it out,
Thank you, Harris. Appreciate it.
Step it out. I wonder if there's waving and
Speed that up.
speed up the outro. I mean, we can still chat. Things to talk about, right? Right,
True.
Roscoe? Even though he's off stream too.
Yeah, I can't believe that camera died again.
Well, it's like the
You know,
thing.
Sony-
It's like the thing. I mean, yeah, Sony, you're letting us down.
a bit,
A bit.
a little.
Just a bit. What what is it? Just like Monty Python. A bit.
I don't understand.
It's a bit. A bit.
Never did that in this studio like this before, except on rare.
But I mean,
It makes no sense.
when I plugged it in,
Right.
I know it said PC. It obviously says PC because we're getting a feed.
You know why? Because it dumped itself into library mode. I think that's why. Anyhow, folks, hey, guess what? We appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.